little German, a little Polish. Let's do the polka. You ready? You ready for the polka? Roll up the barrel. Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. We got the blues on the run. Singing boom tarara. Bring out the song of the dream. Now it's time to roll the barrel. For the gang's all here. It's the power of only we faces blooming, never any rooming, no worry or glooming. All this music and this dancing, lots of sweet romances. When they play the polka, they all get in the swing. Every time you hear that oompa wah, and everybody feels so dry, and they throw their cares away. Oh, George, they go la-di-da-di-day, and you hear the rumble on the floor. It's a big surprise they're waiting for, and the couples want the ring. For miles around they stay. Ready, ball, 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 roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. We have the blues on the run. Sing boom tarara. Bring out the song of the cheer. Now it's time to roll the barrel because George is here. Now it's time to roll the barrel.
My name is Mark DeRocha, Assistant Scoutmaster at Troop 68. The boys are down here doing a bottle and can drive to raise some money, a fundraiser, so they can help pay for some stuff for the troop, to get their troop up and running. And so far it's been very successful, as you can see.
Kidding me. What's your name? Barbara. Barbara, my poor sister. Barbara, she just
Well, good afternoon and welcome to our 5th annual Toll House Cookie Taste-Off here at All Saints Episcopal Church in Whitman. This is our 5th time of trying to honor the tradition here in town of our amazing Toll House cookie. And so if you come along, I'll show you. We have 8 different versions of the Toll House cookie made by parishioners. It's a version of the cookie, so some have peppermint in it, some are triple chocolate, some have almond and coconut. So come on down. This is Regina. She's one of our parishioners. So I'm just telling her all about our Toll House cookie.
Check, just voted.
Did you vote on a favorite?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you can't tell us which because
No, I'm not
it's
going
yeah, it's anonymous.
Right.
But this year, as part of our celebration, we also have the book by Kathleen that just came out. She's a local writer and artist. So we're selling these two, and they tell all the story of the Toll House cookie. So that's fun. And we combine it with a yard sale so people can come in and buy a few things to spruce up your house during these cold February days. And it's just become a real part of the tradition here, both in town of Whitman and for our church.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I'm here at the All Saints Church in Whitman. I love my church. We're having a cookie contest today, and thanks to Colette, our Reverend, who is an angel on earth. She and the people of the church put this beautiful yard sale together. So I'm grateful to be a part of it. What do you think? I like it. Hi there, what's your name?
Carol, what's yours?
Carol! Nice to meet you, Carol. Hi, everybody.
Would you like to say anything about what you're doing here, or do you have things for sale?
I actually saw that you were having a fair today, and I had been here a couple of years ago and got the most beautiful punch bowl. So I thought I need to get my body moving so my daughter doesn't live too far. And I thought I'd come and see if you had any other good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Carol.
I do too, and that's a beautiful one.
50 cents. That's mine now. Unless you want to offer me 60. About it. Did you say, honey?
Hi, my name is Judy. I am a member of All Saints Church in Whitman, and we are having our annual yard sale Toll House Cookie Contest to help raise funds to keep the church going and to help out with some winter blahs. We figure this is a good thing to get people out and thinking that there's going to be good weather coming. So we have it annually, and it's a wonderful time, and we celebrate the Toll House cookies. So come on down next year if you couldn't make it this year. Thank you.
Welcome to yet another taste of Whitman and Hanson, the 11th annual, set here at the Whitman VFW Post 697. If you're not here, you're missing it. If you're here, well, then you're going to probably see yourself somewhere in the background. And as we do traditionally every year, we start out everything speaking with the president of Dollars for Scholars, the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, Mr. Michael Ganchert. Michael, how are you?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here and Cable here and all the people behind us here.
You're not heeding what Gene Dean told you prior to this, and that is just make sure you pace yourself. This is going to be a fast and furious 2.5 hours. Are you ready for it?
I have an empty belly right now, but it will be full by the end of the night, I'm sure, so I'm ready for it.
What are some of the things, here we are, the event is here, some of the things that the folks are going to be in store for those who are attending the 11th annual Taste of Whitman and Hanson?
Well, this year we have 20 different restaurant groups that are here offering samples of their food. Two of them are new to our event. One is Montilio's. They are located in Brockton and also now in the Regal Marketplace. So they are here for the first time, as well as Cast Iron Cafe, which is a new restaurant that opened on Plymouth Street, where Debbie's breakfast used to be. So we've got two new ones, and we've also got 18 of our other restaurants that have been here. Some all 11 years, some maybe 5 or 6 years. So we try to mix it up a little bit so that people have exposure to different restaurants, and they have a little different variety to our menu that we have tonight.
And you and I did a cable show, and we kind of gave folks kind of the premises. It isn't necessarily just restaurants or eateries from Whitman and Hanson, but you have some that are from local towns.
Right. It's basically to serve the region. And when we originally started this 11 years ago, we tried to select just Whitman and Hanson restaurants, but we realized that people from Whitman and Hanson, they eat at 10 mile, within a 10-mile radius, so we kind of hit the perimeter of the towns as well. So there are restaurants from East Bridgewater, Abington, Rockland, Brockton, so there's a few neighboring communities that are also here.
And just so folks know at home, this is one of the Dollars for Whitman and Hanson, Dollars for Scholars signature events. And the great purpose of it, Michael, is to what?
To raise scholarship money. This is our biggest single fundraising event. We're trying to raise $120,000 this year so that graduating high school seniors from Whitman and Hanson can go on to college. This is our biggest fundraising event. We have other events as we get further along into the spring, but if we do well on this one, that means we're going to have a good year.
And before we let you go, before we take our camera table to table and interview a bunch of folks for this program, folks who may not have been able to make it here, or let's say they want to be able to help out the cause. And we're going to repeat this early and often, starting with Michael. How can folks find out more about the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, or maybe even make a donation or volunteer?
Well, we do have a website, which is www.whitmanandhanson.dollarsforscholars.org. At that website, they can there's a little tab where they can volunteer, there's a tab where they can donate online, or they can mail in a donation. I thought you were going to ask me what restaurant I was most interested in going to, and I really don't have an answer to that question, so I'm glad you didn't ask me that question.
Oh, darn.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Karen Stoltz, the library director. Thank you all for coming. Next week, a week from today actually, is the Red Sox season opener. So, yes. So we're pleased to have with us author Raymond Sinibaldi, who's going to discuss his new book about the Red Sox home, Bethel Park.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Thanks for coming, folks.
Small intimate gathering.
I appreciate. That's okay. Listen, I've had 5, I've had 100. It doesn't matter to me. It's all you're here because about this, and that's kind of what's cool about it. What I like to do is tell the story of how I ended up here. But this is the cover, the front cover and the back cover. This has probably been the most fun book that I've done, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, and I'll get into the story as I go, but I took a lot of the photographs. And not only did I take a lot of, but there's probably about 90 to 100 photographs in this book that have never been published before. And I also had maybe about 29 different folks who were just fans and photographers, some of them very, very good photographers, worked as professional photographers, but just kind of took this, who gave me permission to print their photographs. So as a result of all of that, we have a lot of them. So the basic
A couple of my favorites here. This little one right here, this is my youngest daughter on her, I think she was 6 years old at the time. And the other ones are on the back. This is Yaz on Yaz Day, tipping of the crowd. I happened to be there and I happened to get that photograph. This is David Ortiz's last regular season game at Fenway on 2017. That was a misty, rainy, holy mackerel. That was a chilly day at Fenway. And this one here was taken, actually it was taken by a friend of mine on the night that Jim Rice's number was retired. And she happened to have seats that were in the first row. She completely lucked out. A friend of hers said, you want to go? She went, and 5 seats down from her was Johnny Pesky waiting to unveil.
The sweetest flower that grows, relations everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose, my wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows, and someday for my sake, she will let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. They sing of their roses which by other men would smell just as sweetly they sing. But I know that my rose would never consent to have that name taken away. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows, and someday for my sake she will let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose, the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
The live entertainment tonight here for your enjoyment. This is the second annual fundraiser for the Hanson Food Pantry. So raise your hands, folks. How many people were here last year? We got quite a bit. Look at those repeat offenders. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for coming back. Always a great cause. Always nice to see people back out again here at Camp Karani, a wonderful place for an event like this. Hanson Food Pantry put this on both years. A wonderful cause for everybody to come out. It's so nice to see the room full of people. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Cameron. If you don't know, Chris has been the director for the Hanson Food Pantry for about 3 weeks, she said. About 3 weeks. So Chris wanted to say a few words to everybody here tonight. So without further ado, Chris Cameron.
We'd like to thank the Hanson Business Network for putting this on and donating our proceeds to the Hanson Food Bank. We have a great community here, so much support. We thank you. If you put any donation in the Shaw's bucket or your church bucket, or you sent us a check when we were fundraising, we thank you. Because of your generosity, we've been able to give out last year over $100,000 or 100,000 pounds of food. And on a monthly basis, we average about 200 people being fed through the food bank. So we thank you. If you want an opportunity to come see the food bank, please leave your name and your number at the bank, and we will call you back and give you a tour. If you would like to volunteer, we'd love to have you. So thank you again for coming, and enjoy your evening.
to the Penny Academy for Pembroke.
Oh my God, is that yours? That is
One thing about this little guy, everybody, if you look at his nose, it's super blue, which means that he is a boy. So if he was a girl instead, he would have a pink or a brown nose. So if you look at his awesome little nose right there, you can see that blue color that he's got. Kind of like his feathers, but a little bit darker. Good boy, Bubba. That long nose right there. I know how, buddy. We feed him. Should I try? Do you want to try it? Go right ahead. Very smooth, kind of rubbery, yeah. A lot of people think these guys are kind of slimy, but they're just very smooth, so they kind of look slimy. Good job. Do you guys want to try? Would you guys like to try that?
We're good here, we're good.
Good job. Good job. Good job, guys. Over there, absolutely. Let me squeeze right on through, pardon me.
Hi, I'm Karen Stolford, the library director. We're very pleased today to honor Nancy Cappellini, the former director who passed away at the end of December. We're having this day we like it to be an annual event, to have kids come in, as Nancy was a former children's librarian, so she really loved kids and helped the kids of Hanson. So we wanted to have this event to bring all the community together and have a great time. We had the reptile show, we had face painting. It's been really, really great. We have a great turnout. We're very happy about that.
Thank you everyone for coming. I'm Andrea Rounds, Library Director here at the Whitman Public Library, and we're here tonight with Delia Cabe, who is the author of The Storied Bars of New York, where literary luminaries go to drink. Delia grew up in Manhattan's Lower East Side, and she is a magazine writer and a bookworm. Her work has appeared in Self, Prevention, Health, Boston Globe Magazine, Scientific American Presents, and other newspapers and magazines. She teaches magazine and column writing at Emerson College. An avid gardener, she lives in a Boston suburb with her husband Rob and their 2 cats. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. This book is, as you heard, I grew up in New York City. I am a big bookworm, and in New York City, in Manhattan, you're going to school and you're walking around, and and a lot of buildings have these little brass plaques on them that tell you that some historical fact about it. And if you're a nosy person like I am, you want to read all of them. So anyway, I'm going to read a little, but I also want a little input from you all, because that helps me form some of my talk tonight. In New York, because when I started this book, I was very interested to know how it happened that writers became sort of barflies. And what happened was, in the late 1800s, there were places that were, in the early history of New York, with the Dutch colony, you know, the settlers and the English settlers, you went to a bar and you had beer and a meal, because you didn't necessarily have a kitchen in your house. You had, and you couldn't necessarily drink the water, so you would have beer or cider at breakfast, which to me is abhorrent now. But you would go there, and you would go there after your day of laboring, and you would eat or drink. So that's where artists and writers got started in the bars of New York. I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. A lifelong bookworm, I would often walk the streets of New York City, imagining the many authors who had lived and written in the apartments I passed. My grade school on Christopher Street in Greenwich Village was located 1 block from the Lion's Head, a celebrated watering hole for writers and journalists. I knew that E.E. Cummings, Don Powell, Thomas Paine, and Ted White had all lived on Christopher Street at one time or another. Dorothy Parker and I went to the same Catholic school, in the same double brownstone on West 79th Street in Manhattan, separated, of course, by numerous decades. All these jockeys, these iron jockeys, are contributed by stables. They represent the stable colors of various Kentucky Derby winners. So this is downstairs at the 21 Club. This looks like brick, right? It's painted brick. Down there, that's where they kept their cellar. They made it look like a brick wall. To open the cellar, they had this magnetic device. You would stick in something that's like a coat hanger to go there. It would release the magnet and it would open up. So that, but the feds would come down and they would say, oh, a wall. And it was actual brick. It was a brick door. Anyway, so when I told you about keeping in tight with the feds and everything like that, this was the personal booth of the mayor of New York at the time.
All right. Ta-da! Okay.
Before it was Grand Central Station with all those gorgeous.
I went to the Algonquin. Which is
You did.
I stayed there one weekend.
Oh my goodness, did he sign it? Did you have him sign it? Oh, okay. That is so cool.
They don't have anything to like smash up the bench with, so.
The back of my heel?
The back of your heel. I'm gonna use a peaceful